by then the drone would have sunk to the bottom.
Yep.
And so it's a do or die. And then I gathered as much courage as I could. And then I was like, anyway, whatever, let's just go for it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Pilots of the Caribbean podcast, where we bring you everything drones and how they're being used in the Caribbean. Jumping right into this week's episode, we have a conversation with a professional FPV pilot, and he hails from the island of Curaçao. In this conversation, we'll discuss his upcoming FPV drone masterclass, as well as the current landscape of drones and how they're being used on the island of Curaçao. So I hope you enjoy my conversation with Mr. Peterson, Octavious.
All right. Hi, Peterson. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining us this week. How are you?
Hi there. I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Why don't we go ahead and get started and tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, yes. My name is Peterson, Octavious. I'm 27 years old. I was born in Haiti, and I moved to Curaçao in 2009. So now I'm living on Curaçao for 15 years. I am an FPV drone pilot. I also do stuff like general technician. I fix electronics. I started with drones in 2015, and FPV specifically around 2018. And since then, I've been flying FPV for hobby till 2021, 2020. I started doing it commercially to get some more income. And that's it. I'm excited to be here to share some knowledge and let you guys know about me.
Okay, cool. So you said you started flying FPV in 2015?
No, I started flying drones in general in 2015.
Okay, 2015.
FPV was more around 2018, 3 years later.
Okay. And what is it that originally got you into flying drones back then?
Well, I think it's the curiosity. I like electronics. And so my first drone was a toy drone I bought in a store. And it didn't fly very well because I didn't read the manual. I flew it and crashed and I think the problem was trimming. So when you take off, the drone keeps on going that way. So back then I didn't read the manual, so I didn't know what was going on. It wouldn't go up straight. So I crashed it. And yeah, I wanted another one to try again, but I couldn't buy another one. So I started looking for videos on YouTube if you could make your own drone. So I searched DIY drone, and then I found out you could. And that's how this whole drone story started with me.
Okay. So that was before they had stabilized drones with GPS and that kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's good, man. So what made you make the move over from those kind of drones to FPV drones?
I think because it was new for me. So I after 2015, when I started, I wanted to get into video making, drone shots. So just like a small GoPro 3 back then with a gimbal on the drone and then taking some shots. But then a friend of mine invited me to their club, the Drone Racing Curaçao, that they did FPV back then. So it was fun. I liked the adrenaline, and so I wanted to participate also. So that's why I started. But shortly after I started, everyone's kind of stopped flying. So I was there with my stuff and like, oh, what now? So and then I started getting into cinematic FPV, how they call it right now. And yeah.
Okay. So are there a lot of drone pilots in Curaçao generally?
Let me see. There are many DJI drone pilots, because I mean, anyone who has $800 can buy a drone. But if you're talking about FPV drone pilots, there are a few, but they haven't flown in a long time. So I think between 5 and 10 maybe.
Okay. So primarily the drone atmosphere in Curaçao is just mostly DJI drones.
Yeah, mostly.
Okay. And what is the commercial usage over there look like? Is it so then would it just be tourism style videos and photos, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's mostly tourism and also events. Like if you, sometimes for a baby shower, they just strap a smoke bomb on the drone. And then,
Right.
yeah, I've done it with FPV, but
Right.
sometimes they do it with phantoms. And mostly it's for wedding also. So they use drone shots for wedding and any type of event they have. They try to utilize drones to give the other perspective, bird's eye view, and I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. So, we have some islands in the Caribbean, like Barbados is known as the place that drones are banned and that kind of thing. And it's, that has a reputation of being a very difficult place to get drones into. Is the landscape in Curaçao like that? Is it hard to get a drone into Curaçao?
Not at all. Like here, you can buy a drone here, but it's more expensive than DJI. So you would order it online. When it arrives, the custom will keep it until you register it.
Okay.
So you just have to they'll save your name and the serial number of the drone somewhere in their database, and then you can have your drone. They'll give you some information about no-fly zones and how do you say that? The rules.
Right.
But if you're coming as a tourist with your drone in your luggage and you go through airport security, they didn't see the drone. You'll just be here with your drone and flying like nothing happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's one of the most relaxed sets of rules that I've heard of so far in the Caribbean.
Yeah. Like if they don't see the drone coming in, no problem. Because once you're here, you can fly your drone almost anywhere, but there are some no-fly zones. But it's not like you'll be flying and they'll come and ask you if this drone is registered or something.
Okay. So, what's the process for registering it?
Well, it's kind of weird to me because when you order the drone, the drone has to go through customs, right? So that's when they tell you, hey, before we can give it to you, you have to register the drone, right? So you contact our, how do you say that? They call it CCAA, Curaçao, something with telecommunication.
Right, like the civil aviation.
Yes, civil aviation authorities, something. Yeah, that's CCAA. Yeah. So, but the thing is, they send you a form, and in the form they ask you for the drone serial number, which is kind of weird because the drone is closed in its box at the customs. How am I supposed to get the serial number? So what I heard was, so I called the guy who handles that at the CCAA. He told me you'll have to provide like a picture of the drone. So like if you ordered a DJI Mavic Air 2S, maybe you could just Google that and send a picture of that. And then I think, I'm not sure, maybe afterwards when you get the drone, you have to update the form. So that's when you actually can read the serial number and then you can send it to them.
Okay. So it's not like there isn't much going on in terms of like restriction or rules wise. So is there any types of rules or regulations that hinder the work that you do with drones?
Not really. It's just the normal stuff. You're not supposed to fly higher than 120 meters, but not everyone knows that. So after that, we have like there are some no-fly zones. Of course, if you go near the airport, the drone won't even take off. But that's built in from DJI. But there are national parks. We have an oil refinery.
Right.
You're not supposed to fly there, but it's not. DJI doesn't know about that, so you can just turn your drone on and fly there. So that's why when you register the drone, CCAA will give you that form with, hey, don't fly there, don't fly there, don't fly there. But some people, they smuggle their drones in Curaçao, so they don't know about those no-fly zones because when they turn on the drones, it just flies.
But, it wouldn't stop you.
Exactly. So that's the only, I don't know. I wonder if there's a way like a government can contact DJI to add those no-fly drones in
I
their
believe
software.
There's a way because they do it. The FAA does it. So the FAA would update no-fly zones and add like TFRs. I'm not sure if the TFRs, which is the temporary flight restrictions. So like if they have sporting events, they add restrictions to specific areas and they put that out. So there's other apps that you can get for if you're flying in the States to see where you can and can't fly. But I'm not sure if they could directly influence it into DJI software.
All right.
But then they make it's your responsibility to know. So you can't say, oh, yeah, I didn't know. That kind of thing. You're supposed to check, and the onus is on you to make sure that you can fly in this area.
All right.
Which is not something that you see really in the Caribbean. People know, and they just still go and fly anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because we have that in Trinidad as well. Like Port of Spain is a no-fly zone on paper. DJI, it isn't in the DJI app. So you have all these events, you see people flying just for fun sometimes in and around Port of Spain. And you know that the majority of them, you're pretty sure they don't have permission to fly.
Of course.
But it happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have some catching up to do in the Caribbean. But that means that if the majority of your applications so far are, mainly tourism focused or photo video, that means that Curaçao would have some opportunities for other avenues when it comes to the drone industry, right?
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean with other?
So I'm not familiar with Curaçao, so I don't know. I know like one of their main industries is tourism.
Yeah.
But a lot of countries, you see like the Guyanas and the Barbados of the world, just as an example, are making a big push into agriculture using drones. So spraying drones and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is that something that you all have going on? Is agriculture a big thing in Curaçao?
Well, we do. My dad is a farmer, so sometimes, when I see those videos on the internet about the spraying drones,
right,
I think, it would be cool to have something like that here, but who's gonna pay for it?
Yeah.
So I haven't gotten far enough to go like to ask around who would afford something like that, and then it would serve most farmers here. But it's how do you say that? There's opportunity for that here.
Okay. Cool. That's it, man. So one of the reasons I wanted to have you on was I came across the Learnovate ad on the masterclass that you were having. How did you get involved with the Learnovate program?
Let me see. That was last year. I got a message to do a FPV flight through our hospital for I think they have a series of videos.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted a nice intro, so I did that for them. I got married on the 3rd of March, and I had to shoot the next day. so I mean, I got the green light from the wife, so that was good. So and then I did the job. I gave the guy the videos and everything. I edited a little piece of it, and then sent it to him. And then that was it. And I think maybe last summer I thought maybe I wanna, because I started growing interest in FPV on Curaçao.
Right.
So maybe I thought maybe I could do like a workshop or something to teach people more about it. I talked to a friend of mine. He has like a TV show location lookalike, so that I could use it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got busy with work and stuff, so I forgot about the idea. And then recently, the guy I filmed for at the hospital, he told me, "Hey, we're having like a masterclass series to inform people more about media, so that everyone can be on the same level when it comes to quality and prices."
Right.
And he asked me, "Would you be interested to give like a masterclass of FPV?" And I was like, "Oh, that would be great." I was planning on doing something like that, but I got busy. So that's how they got in touch with me, and then I went for it, because when I thought about it, my workshop, it didn't go through because I was busy. Now Learnovate is handling the most of the how do you say that? The pre-production, because they have the location, they are promoting it, they handle inscriptions and stuff. So I just gotta have to prepare for a nice FPV masterclass, and then I'll give it to the people who participate.
So this is online or is in person?
It's in person, because I'll be doing, to keep it interesting, of course, I wanted to go more hands-on. So it's going to be theory, a lot of explanation, so that people know what FPV is and all the ups and downs, all the difference between FPV and the normal DJI drones. And the first day, I think I'll set up some computers, and then 2 or 3 maybe, and then let them try with simulators with the remote.
Yeah.
And the next, it's going to be a 2, well, not 2 day, but 2 session, one week apart. And on the next one, I will build the drone while explaining it. So I'm planning to do it to as interesting as possible. So I will give one of them a motor with 4 screws and the Allen key. I let them screw the motor on for me.
Right.
So and then when you're done, the next one, until it comes down to the soldering, I'll do that, because I'm not expecting anyone to know how to solder right away. And then after that, I'll program it with them and then fly it outside. Of course, it's going to be a 5-inch. I fly it outside for them so they can see how it all goes together.
Okay. So the masterclass itself is geared towards beginners, intermediate, advanced persons. Anybody?
I mean, it can be anybody. I mean, if you're not a beginner, it's gonna be a little bit boring, because you'll have to hear things you maybe already know. But if you're a beginner, it'll be more interesting. You don't have to wait till the part that you don't know about, because some people maybe have seen online how they build them, and they may have read a lot about how to fly it, but others don't know nothing about it. What will be interesting is actually the building part and the simulation part, because I'm pretty sure none of them have built an FPV drone before.
Right.
Maybe they have flown a simulator, maybe not. But those are the interesting parts that people will be excited to try out.
Okay, so at the end of the masterclass, the participants will learn the ins and outs of FPV and how to put together a drone, and then, flying an FPV drone is never an easy process. I just
definitely not exactly. So okay. I mean, at the start of the lesson, I will have to tell them, hey, after those 2 lessons, you won't be an FPV drone pilot. But I wish it was that easy, but it's not. So so the 2 master classes will be to give you as much information as I can, so that you can know what you want to do with FPV. Because if you want a DJI drone, you just look around. Oh, this one is big. This one is small. This one flies longer than that one. I want this one. But with FPV, you have to choose Cinelifter, whoops, 5-inch. What do you want to do? You want to go into cinematography, or you want to go racing? So 5-inch is for you. So after those classes, you will know, oh, maybe I'm more into that direction, so I'll focus on that direction. Because one thing too is, when I started with FPV, there were no simulator. Maybe there were simulator, but it wasn't really easy to get to. So the beauty of technology right now is, when someone wants to try FPV, I was like, oh, you can download. I use Velocity Drone Simulator. Yeah. I give them my credentials. They don't have to buy the license, and then I have 2 remotes, so I borrow them one of them, and then go try it out. You won't have to spend nothing. Just crash as much as you want in the simulator. Back then, I had to crash in the real time. So
Yeah.
So it's kind of not easier, but maybe cheaper to get to know, if you really, really, really want it, if it's something for you. Because back then you would. I know a guy. He invested quite a lot of money. He got the DJI goggles. I built a drone for him, and then he had to sell everything because he didn't have time to train. And it's not that easy. So now I can just borrow someone a remote and simulator, go find out if it's something for you.
Okay. Yeah, that's an easy way to get somebody into it. But you're going to get asked the question, especially now, what about the DJI FPV drone and just not having to go through all of this headache?
Yeah, I mean,
that one.
For me, FPV goes hand in hand with crashing.
Right.
And with our frames, the ability to crash and then just bend the propeller back and keep on flying, that makes it fun and makes it less expensive. With the DJI FPV, with the plastic frame, if you crash hard, you might not be able to fly for the next month. You need to find out what broke, what you have to change, look online to order what broke, and wait for it to get to Curaçao, and then I'll have to fix it for you, maybe, unless you can fix it.
Yeah.
And then all that time was you were like waiting for it. It's how do you say that? The more you practice, the quicker it goes. So if you're trying something new and then you crash, you don't have time. You didn't get the chance to redo it again right after that. When the drone is finally in flying conditions, you have to start kind of all over again, and hopefully you don't crash again.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that's one of the main differences between DJI FPV and the DIY homemade ones, because it's a body, how do you say that? It's a frame, the chassis.
Mm-hmm. Chassis, yeah.
Ours is more durable, but the DJI has all those features. Like, I always recommend it. Like, if you already have the drone, you can try flying into manual mode. And if anything happens, you just go to normal mode. The drone stays in hover. That's the best thing you can take advantage of using the DJI FPV. But if you want to go like testing your limits, I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, that's something because the DJI FPV drone is an easy way, I think, for people to get into FPV. But it takes away the ability to learn what happens when something happens, because FPV is not a matter of if you're gonna crash, it's a matter of when and how bad.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah. And also I noticed recently I got two new pilots. They already had the DJI FPV, and so they asked me, "Hey, can we fly together?" Oh, okay. Sometimes I just organize a session back at my old house. Maybe 3, 4, 5 pilots come to fly together. And I think 2 weeks ago, I noticed I flew the DJI FPVs. There was this guy. He has 2 of those of the DJI FPVs. Also, I see balloons going up.
I think that's because you did the peace sign. Yeah.
Oh, I know. All right. So the first guy who came to me to start with FPV, he had a DJI FPV drone. So I told him, I taught him how to fly and stuff. So now he switched to FPV 5-inch carbon frame and stuff. Right. So he has this DJI FPV just gathering. Yeah. And then the next one was started also with DJI FPV. He wanted to go all out, but he didn't want to crash his drone. And the other guy was like, I can sell you mine. So he bought it. Now he has 2 DJI FPV drones. One is nice on the shelf, and the other one he's trying all kind of stuff with it. So if it breaks, he has a backup.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, we came for an FPV session at my house. And then he was like, I want to try power looping. And then I told him, we can go like that and that and that. I tried. I flew my 5-inch drone, and I let him spectate. And I was trying to explain it while I'm doing it. So you go up, you pitch back, and then you let go of the throttle, and then you flip, and then to see where you're going down, up and over. But with mine, I think I have, I don't remember, my propellers I have more pitch.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like maybe a split second of throttle and then cut. So when I went to try with the DJI FPV, Oh man, I almost
Mm-mm.
cried. It feels heavier. It is
Yeah,
heavier
it
maybe.
is.
And then
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
so when I go like throttle up and pitch back, I would go up, but when I flip back, I was like, this is the tree line. The camera was going like so close to it. I got scared. And when I landed, I took a look at the propellers. They're like 50, 53, 28. So 28 on the pitch. I mean, we usually fly. Me personally, I fly 40 and up, 40 to 45. I don't go 50. That's for racing. So that was when I realized, oh, those propellers are too low pitched. That's why it feels so underpowered.
Mm-hmm.
So I told the guy, you can order those adapters, and then you can use normal 5-inch propellers with more pitch, so you have more control. Because I think DJI is using those low pitches to it's more efficient, so you can fly longer.
Yeah.
But then at the end of your battery pack, you'll feel like real sluggish. The battery sag with the low pitch won't do much.
Yeah, and those are things that they wouldn't learn until after they get into it.
Exactly.
But hopefully by that point, they get hooked so that it doesn't turn them off.
Yeah. And when I told the guy about the prop adapters, he told me, yeah, I already ordered them. So he's waiting for those prop adapters so he can use higher pitch props. Yeah.
But the process to get stuff from DJI, I'm assuming you guys order from the States, right?
Yeah. But I usually order from, Raise Quartz?
Yeah.
Private drone, get FPV, newbie drone. The thing is, you'll never find everything you need on one website most of the time. Yep. So you'll be having like 3 tabs open and then order.
Yeah.
So yeah, we use what they call a shipping forwarder.
Mm-hmm. Like what we call a skybox in Trinidad. Like it's a freight forwarder.
Oh yeah, skybox. Yeah. Well, so I order it. Maybe when I order from Raise Quartz, it's in Orlando. Maybe in 2 days it gets to Miami, and then in another 2 to 3 days it gets to Curaçao, and maybe 1 or 2 days, hopefully there wasn't no weekend in between.
Right.
You'll get your stuff. So maybe from ordering to receiving the package, minimum 1 week.
Okay, well that's not too bad. We have a similar time in Trinidad, depending on what time of the year it is. Because when it comes to Christmas, they tell you they have a lock-off point. So anything that you want to get before Christmas has to be at the Miami office by or before like the end of November, first week in December. Otherwise, they can't guarantee you get before Christmas.
Oh man, I hate waiting.
it takes a while sometimes. Yeah, it's a process. So what has the response been to the masterclass so far? How many sign-ups have you received so far?
The response has been good, but in the sense of support, like I got a lot of shares on they share the masterclass a lot.
Right.
I think up till now I checked recently with Learnovate, I think we have 5 to 6 signups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
that's manageable.
Yeah, I was aiming for 10, max 15.
Right.
So I mean today is 7, so we are kind of like 1 month out. So
what is the date for the masterclass?
The first one is 4th May, and the second is the next week is 11 on Saturday.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so because I told them the minimum age I would recommend to participate is 14, because FPV can be serious and dangerous. Right. At around 14, maybe you can fly without supervision, but anything less than that, you would need like a parent to look after it. Because I've caught myself with FPV a few times, so I wouldn't recommend anyone to let that happen to them. So we did it on Saturday on a weekend, so maybe there's no school and stuff, so 14 years old can attend.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. And where can anybody who's viewing this before the masterclass go and sign up for it?
On my Facebook page, I think. I also put it on Instagram, and also you can search for Learnovate, like learn OV and then 8 on Facebook. Right. You'll see my poster, and there's a link to fill in the form. But unfortunately, it's not online, so you won't be able to attend it in Trinidad.
Yeah, because we have some people from all over the Caribbean who I'm sure would be interested. So you might have to look into doing an online one at some point.
I'll try, because the thing is, for me, like, I see it like, how do you say that? I always put myself in other people's shoes.
Right.
So anyone interested in FPV would be like, how do you say that? A hobbyist, or, he would have some sort of, I don't know, how do you say that? But anyway, so I can't sit and watch someone talk for 2 hours. I need some of my hands on, So that's why I think it could be pretty boring to do it online. But I mean, if people really, really, really want, I could try to do it online, because I mean, after I tell you, hey, the drone will use those two opposite propellers to yaw, the diagonal ones.
Mm-hmm.
I can give it to you maybe, and you can feel the motor spinning faster to achieve the yaw motion.
Right.
So
as opposed to watching it.
Exactly. So as a student sitting there and following, I would love to get the drone, feel the drone, and then feel the motor spinning. So that's what is making it a little bit harder for me to do it online for others, because I always see myself sitting there like, what would I want to get? What experience would I want to get from the class? Mm-hmm. So sometimes on my Instagram, I do a lot of how do you say that? Electronic explanation.
Mm-hmm.
So I explain about how electric motors work. I just put it on my stories. People see it, people watch it, people like it. But there was this time I was explaining about batteries. There's not much practice you can do with demonstration you can do with batteries. So it was a lot of reading and watching.
Right.
And halfway through, I was like, "That's all, folks." But in my mind, I put myself in the viewer's shoes. Like, all right, does it get any more interesting than the reading and watching videos? So I caught the lesson. And so for the next lesson, I explain about brushless motors.
Mm-hmm.
And I even build, let me see, I still have it here. I built this contraption so people could actually see the thing in action. This is a magnet.
Right.
I painted one side of the magnet black so they can see the difference between north and south. I made 2 loops of coil. And what I did was I round this one clockwise and this one counterclockwise. So I was explaining, if I put positive here, negative here, it would pull. But why did it push when I put it there? So I could tell them and show them that just by reversing the direction of the coiling, the magnet would react differently because of the difference in the magnetic field.
Right.
So I found that way more interesting because people could see and understand and believe it,
Yeah.
Instead of writing like for lithium ion, you have your maximum voltage, minimum voltage. You're not allowed to pull more than the manufacturers what the manufacturer tells you, and blah 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 blah. You could watch and read and watch and read, but with this, you don't need to be wise to understand it. It's just like, put power here, it will pull the magnet. Put power here, it would push it because this coil is round the other way around. So that's how I kind of, because when I give a lesson, I want to be sure that I would watch that lesson with interest. So if I wouldn't watch it with interest, I won't give the lesson. Yeah.
And I think honestly, based on some of the examples that you're giving right now, when people see it, you might really get some calls to do an online session. Because the examples that you're using, because so I learned the hard way. When I learned FPV, like you, they didn't have any simulators, maybe one sim. It wasn't even that good.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
my first FPV experience, I lost my drone and had to go find it. It was one of those things where you see it come down. Yeah, I found it because I had put a buzzer on it, and I was the only way I found it because I had to go through some grass that was taller than me. Yeah, so it's like you see it coming down, and you don't want it to hit. Your instinct is don't let it hit the ground, so you panic and you push up, and then it just shoots up in the air and it went wherever it was gonna go. But I think based on some of the examples that you give and how you could break it down in terms of how brushless motor works and the practical actually show how that magnetic field works. I think if people outside see this, you're gonna get some calls to do at least a few online sessions to break it down for them.
I mean,
I've never seen it done like that before. I had to learn it just looking at videos online and just power. Okay, no power. Okay, don't touch this. Okay, don't ground this off. Okay, if you plug this in and ground off, you'll get smoke and everything will blow up.
yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it's one thing. Like watching the videos online is one thing, but actually doing it, experiencing it is something else.
Yeah. Because the first time, if you're not expecting it, the first time you get what we call the magic smoke is one of the most defeating things ever.
Yeah. And I never used a smoke stopper.
I only started using a smoke stopper years after. And then I had to learn how to use a multimeter and all of that.
I did blow up a 4-in-1 ESC because of reverse polarity. But I think if I had a smoke stopper, it would have been saved. Yeah, something I learned through the years. When I get all those components, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna build a drone, and I'm stopping until I'm done. And so if you wanna get done faster, you gotta go like fast. Let's finish this thing up. And then I wired plus to minus. Because there was this, I don't know if you know, Hobbywing 4-in-1 ESC, the 60M one of those good qualities one.
Yep.
They come like ESC, they already soldered the lead and the capacitor, but that end has no XC60.
Yeah.
So most ESCs come with the XC60 pigtail, but not soldered to the ESC.
Yeah.
But the Hobbywing came with the pigtail, but not with the XC60. So back then, I think I had to go abroad. So I wanted to finish the drone so I can take it with me.
Right.
So, in my hurry and my rush, I soldered plus to minus, minus to plus. Packs! Oh, man. that sound, that pop, and then the smoke and the smell. That's not going to fly. Yeah.
And for somebody new, that'll be defeating because, you just spend all this money and you're excited to get in here and then it just literally goes up in smoke in front of you.
Yeah, it's not a fun experience
at all. Oh man. So we spoke about the Learnovate, and all the listeners know where they could find more information. If you're located in Curaçao, if you're headed to Curaçao, they could participate in it. One of the other things that we do on the episodes is we get each guest to submit their video of the week. So you have a very interesting one for us. So why don't you walk us through your video of the week submission this week?
Yeah, mine is a video where I flew under a rock over the sea. So it's like here in Curaçao or around here, they call it natural bridge. That's when the water eats the rock from under. So you have like rock and then water. So it's like a pass through.
Right.
But the distance between rock and water was not that huge. Right. So also one thing that kept me into FPV for that long is challenge. When there's no challenge, it's not fun anymore for me. So like I flown there, I flown there, I flown there. I went through that gate to that gap, but I need something new to test out. So I went. So Curaçao is shaped like that. You have at that edge where Curaçao ends.
Right.
That's where there's this hole. So I went there to try to fly through it. Back then, I used to use analog system, so a lot of breakups.
Right.
So I was shaking, and then let me see. I had the video. You can still see me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going pretty slow, and thank God that day there was not much wind, so the water was pretty calm. But still, it may look big, but it's not that big when you have those goggles on. And the thing also was like, usually when I go for a gap, let's say that's a gap, I go for it, and at some point I cancel out. I can just shoot up and try again. But in this case, it was rock and water. Hit the rock, propeller stop, water. Go too low, it touches the water. The drone would go. Drones don't float unless you strap like an empty bottle, an empty plastic bottle. If you strap that, it can float. But mine was not floatable, and also where I'm standing up there, there were no quick way to get into the water. You would have to walk maybe it's all cliff. I'm no cliff jumper, so I would have to walk maybe. It felt like 100 to 200 meters that way, where there's like a small beach. You could go down and then get in the water and then swim towards the rock. And then, but by then, the drone would have sunk to the bottom.
Yep.
And so it's a do or die. And then I gathered as much courage as I could. And then I was like, anyway, whatever, let's just go for it. Also, I was using a GoPro 9 back then, and it had a cracked screen. So if it would have fell in the water, the GoPro would go also. So it was just like, you crash, that's it. There's no recovering of nothing. I think I record on the goggle, but back then it was analog, and then it wouldn't be that nice to watch afterwards. So I was like, whatever, let's just go for it. I drove all the way through there to there. So yeah, I might as well just do it or lose the drone. And then I went for it. And as you can see, now I'm going under it. And in the end, so I think the hole was like this. Like as you come to it, it's pretty tall, but as you go through it, the gap gets smaller.
Okay.
So I was shaking there, and I was trying to hold my throttle as steady as possible and just go for it. And then I went through it. And in the end, you can see my wife was sitting in there, and she was also excited for me because I wanted to go through that hole, and then I finally did it.
It's nice.
So yeah, that's what keeps FPV interesting for me, like the challenge. So like when you finish with this one, what's next? Otherwise, it just goes plateau, and then there's no more fun in that, and I can't do something that's not fun.
I get it. Kind of the same way, especially when it comes to FPV. Even though I haven't flown FPV in a couple months, at this point. So before I let you go, right, there's one thing that you mentioned last time that I think everybody should hear that you're working on. I'm not talking about the car. So please let the audience know what is the story with you and this car that you're working on.
I had this crazy idea almost a year ago. That was in May 2023, end of May. So I was thinking, what if I just remove like an internal combustion engine and then somehow find a powerful enough electric motor and shove it in there and see if it will run? And then I started looking online on YouTube as usual. And then I found out, it's possible, because the first video I found was from this guy, Damien Maguire. He's from Ireland. And the video was almost 10 years old. I was like, how, what? And the guy was using his GoPro, so the footage was shaky and not the highest quality. So this thing was going on for years and years and years already.
Right.
It's just we didn't know about it. Because now that I'm doing it, I found so much information on the internet. I'm using a Tesla Model S front drive unit.
Right.
In Tesla, they don't call them motor; they call it drive unit. So they're for the Tesla Model S, they have a few combinations. So they have like the car with a big motor in the rear. That's the normal one. They have also the car with a smaller motor in the rear. They have a car with two small motors, one in the rear, one in the front. And they have the performance one, has a big motor in the rear and a small motor in the front.
Okay.
The big motor on its own can output a maximum of 500 or 600 horsepower, like fully topped out. And the small one can reach up to 300 horsepower. But so I searched, I learned, I read a lot online. And then I found out this guy, Damien from Ireland, he reverse engineered the working of the Tesla motor and a lot of other motors also. So he also, what was fascinating is he published all what he found. So you can just go to his GitHub page and you'll find everything from the code to, so, I mean, if you get the code and if you're a programmer, you want your car to do this instead of that, you can just go in there and change it and then make your car as unique as you can. Right. So what I did was when I got the Tesla motor, you open it up, you remove the green motherboard. Damien sells motherboards that he makes. You just replace it. Give the car power, you get it also, he also included like a Wi-Fi board on that board. So you don't have to go in there with a computer to plug it. No, when you turn the car on, you get Wi-Fi access. So you can tune the car with your laptop via Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So it's all like, I don't know, it's almost magic. And he did it for fun and he's just putting it out there. Ways to contribute would be to sign up on his Patreon or buy a board from him. He sells them from Ireland, so you have to pay in euros and stuff, but you can also go to his GitHub, download all the file, and then let a PCB manufacturer make the board for you for way cheaper.
Okay.
So that's all that. So getting back to the car. So ever since June, I think 16th of June last year, I got the car. I got it because it was a friend of mine and it wasn't working. So I think it had some engine problem. He told me he was driving, the car stopped. He parked it on the side of the road and left it there. So when he told me that, I was like, damn, that's crazy. That was before I came with the idea of building an electric conversion. Right. And then when I came with the idea, I was like, oh, I know a guy with a car that he's not using. So I told him, hey, how much would you give me the car? He told me 800. I was like, come on, man, you can do better than that. And we settled on 600 guilders. That's like 300 something US dollar. Right. I got the whole car. I mean, one thing I could do was try to fix the engine and then get over it, but no, that was not the idea. So I got the car. I removed the engine, removed everything. I found the Tesla Model S motor on eBay for $600 US, which is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go for it. So I went for it, got the motor back in October, November last year. And then I started, so I borrowed like one of those engine jacks. Mm-hmm. And I hung the motor in there trying to measure to build a motor support. I built down from plastic. I 3D print them with my printer here so I could test fit. When it fits, and that's when I went to the machine shop. Hey, I need this, but in hard, strong metal. Right. So it was easy for them just to copy it over. Mm-hmm. And then that took a while, maybe 1 to 2 months. Now that I have the motor installed, I looked online for batteries. I found some good deals on some batteries. I use batteryhookup.com.
Okay.
They have good price on maybe. There are secondhand batteries, but not really used. They were backup batteries, so almost never used, never cycled. So a battery life degrades every time you charge it fully and discharge it. So on backup, they stay out 50-60% of the whole time. So the batteries are like brand new. I got them for cheap. I installed them.
Right.
Now I'm working on the drive shaft. One drive shaft was done. When I went to test it, it wouldn't because the wheels axle is here, but the differential is here, like this. So the drive shaft would go from the wheel to the drive shaft. So from the motor to the drive shaft. So the angle was how do I say that? Too steep. So like let's say this is the differential, this is the wheel, this is the angle of the drive shaft. It's too steep. So I had to shift the whole motor a little bit backward. Yeah, it's a lot of work because I thought I was going to drive the car like maybe last week.
Right.
And then when it come to it was like, how do you say that? The whole trajectory was do research, buy the parts, install it, and to the next one, into the next one. Now at the end, it went down because the whole motor had to be shifted back. So it was kind of hard for me, but I took a week off and then now we continue. So I'm waiting for the machine shop to do some modification on my support so I can shift the whole motor a little bit back. And then hopefully in a week or so, I'm going to put it on its wheel and then let it move under its own power. So yeah, so I mean, I post my updates on TikTok. I was trying to go the YouTube route, but I'm too lazy to go edit those videos because on TikTok I could just take out my phone, film a little, and then. But for YouTube, the horizontal format, film it, and then edit it. I edit everything on the app of TikTok. So voiceover, music, not much, It's easier to put there, so that's why I chose that route. Sometimes I post some updates on my Instagram story, so I will refer you to TikTok again. So if you wanna know more, you can just follow me on TikTok and Instagram.
Cool. And that's definitely something that everybody should go and do and check out the Tesla engine in a Civic.
Yeah,
Civic, right?
Honda 2008 Honda Civic Coupe.
2008 Honda Civic Coupe with a Tesla engine. So everybody should definitely go and check that out. And last thing before you go, any advice that you would give, or what advice would you give to somebody who wants to get into the field of FPV or somebody coming up in the field of
FPV? Get ready to learn. And I wouldn't tell you go reach out to Mr. Steele, but you can reach out to me anytime. I could help because FPV can be overwhelming sometimes. First of all, you need to know what you're going to do with it. So when you reach out, I can tell you, oh, you have to do this and this and this and this. So first things first, if you know someone who's already flying, that's the best way to learn. It's the easiest to learn because he can explain to you what you need. And if you know someone like me, like in the sense of like, hey, take my stuff, go use it, and then find out if you like it. So find someone who's already doing it. He'll help you better. And also just search on YouTube. There are thousands of FPV drones videos on there. And then, I said, go for it.
Cool, man. So Peterson, let the audience know where they could find you. Give me your socials.
I always have to look at my Instagram because I don't remember. I made that account a couple of years ago. I don't remember my username. So it's Peterson, my name, _ Octavious. Yeah, it's not that difficult, but for some reason, sometimes I read Octavious Peterson, but it's Peterson Octavious. So it's my name _ Octavious. That would be my Instagram account. You can find me on Facebook also, Peterson Octavious. And my TikTok is, I think it's Octavious P. Yes. My TikTok is Octavious, my bad. Yes, Octavious_P. And
Cool.
yeah, that's where you can reach me out.
Nice. So you guys know where you can go and find Peterson. And as usual, I'll put all the links to his social medias and everywhere you could find them in the description or the show notes. So Peterson, thanks very much for coming on this week's episode. And good luck to you. All the best on the masterclass.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you for the invite. It was a pleasure sharing some knowledge and getting to know you too. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Hope you enjoyed my conversation with Mr. Peterson Octavious. If you'd like to get in contact with him, all of his links and contact information will be in the description of this week's episode, so feel free to reach out to him if you want to get some more information on drones in Curaçao, or just want to find out more what the work he's doing and his upcoming FPV masterclass. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to share it with your friends, like, subscribe, rate us, review, all the things. You can find us on all social media platforms, and you can also find us on our website at www.pilotsofthecaribbeanpod.com. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode, and I will see you in the next one.